So we have a really finely gessoed canvas here, and that's part of, I'm gonna have to do a whole video on how I gesso my canvases. Even the gesso is part of the painting. Anyways, we got a nicely gessoed canvas here, almost like a paper feel. It's not canvas, it's a MDF board of some kind. I buy my boards in bulk. You can just buy it at the hardware store and cut them up, have them cut it up for you. Anyways, getting to the point, I don't want to miss the fact that when you're doing the drawing, you kind of measure where all the dots are going to line up. The corner of the house, the top of the hill, the little bush right now, possible some, I'm just putting in where some grass is going to be, different colored grass. I like to do the drawing at the same time as I am doing the blocking. This time I actually did the drawing and the blocking, but sometimes I just like to draw a line. And this is a new thing that's been happening with me. I feel like every artist is a work in progress, and I am too. But I like to do the blockings as I put the line down. I put a dot. Sometimes I will even start the blocking. But I'm going to leave it right here and kind of skip to further along. So right about here you can see how I kind of got a feeling for the sky. We got a little bit of cloud, sun hitting the cloud. Where the horizon is, it's a lot lighter than the top. So I try to get the sky to a point where I feel like there's a sky. So now I can fill in the earth. And once again, I used to use one brush for everything, but I find it is better to use a myriad of brushes to help the expression. Sometimes in areas you just want to feel the detail and put it in so the viewer can read the image, and then sometimes you just want to open it up, you know, just open up the brush stroke and drop in some huge shapes, as you're going to see later on in this clip. So here we are with large brush shapes going in, big brush. I think the brushes interpret, it's like words on a page. The brush will interpret the feeling of the space you're trying to paint. You know, small brushes are really good to bring the eye into a spot. Larger brushes are good to rest the eye and open the image up. Sometimes soft brushes, hard brushes, scraggly brushes, good brushes. I just ordered a set of rosemary brushes. I'm excited to show you guys what a rosemary brush can do to a painting. But yeah, here I am using the big brush to kind of not let your eye focus down here. Also, I'm not totally mixing my paint accurately. Sometimes I feel, I know they say you should use a palette knife to mix your paint, but I feel palette knife to mix your paint if it's large amount of color that you're going to need to fine tune into different levels of that color. Don't know if that makes sense for you. But I kind of mix, if I'm doing reds and yellows and blues, reds, yellows and blues, and some of it is pure. So at this stage you want to do that so you can have some kind of flavor in the open spaces. So I'm going to leave this here and go back to when I started moving in on the picture. And so we're back. See, I got a smaller brush here and I'm trying to put a little bit of detail, the light that hits the corner of that roof right there. Bring your eye in closer, because let's face it, that area is the focal point of the painting. The rest of it supports that area. So this is a made up picture, by the way. This is that same little white house I've been painting across the street. But I've been putting this little white house in a bunch of different places. The scene I photographed right here in Glen, where I live, but the scene I photographed right on the edge of the hill, some of the dry foliage that's happening right now as we are in winter. But so that's why I'm going to use a small brush all the way down to whatever it takes to bring your eye to that space. The idea for the painting and the feeling for this picture was for you to feel like this could be the first house on this ridge. Don't have neighbors for miles. A feeling of calm. Recently I've been painting a lot of stuff like that. I don't know, I think we all wish we could have some kind of serenity right now, and this is my way of escape. So I'm using a small brush, like I said, to kind of delineate parts of it. I probably could do an even better job at more detail. Sometimes I find when you put too much detail and you tell the audience about everything going on in that part of the image, it starts to get boring. It's kind of starts to get wordy, you know, W-O-R-D-Y kind of thing. So you kind of have to watch how much detail. Don't forget to let the brush strokes show. It's part of the character of the painting, you know. So I'm going to leave this here too, and let's see further down what I do. Now here you see I use the palette knife. Sometimes the brush puts on a lot of paint, especially hog hair brushes will allow you to put in a lot of paint, and then sometimes you just want to put some paint on there. And the palette knife seems to be the best tool at this point. And this is usually towards the ending of the painting, you know, just like the use of small brushes. The palette knife tends to put on more, because part of the painting is not only getting the analytical parts like light and shadow correct, composition, all that stuff, but part of the painting is dimensional, because you have to consider in the painting the textural value is also important. And putting on thick paint in certain areas helps. It's another trick that helps you direct the viewer's eye. You can actually cut corners in a painting by doing these steps really raw and simple and fast, and then jump to the chase of a heavy paint palette knife in areas you want the viewer to spend time on. So that's why the palette knife is kind of important. Chop some edges. It's good for chopping edges, especially if you can work a la prima where paint is wet on wet. You can sharpen edges. You can blur edges with a palette knife. You can add paint. You can texturize. You can texturize with a brush too. It just takes longer. So let's see how far I get what I do on the next clip. Okay, in this clip you can see me painting. I'm really delineating certain things, improving the shadows, softening edges a little bit better. Just trying to delineate the image, you know, make it more like the image I'm looking at. So this is just work, you know, trying to put in brush strokes in the correct place. If it's not in the correct place, trying to erase it or smoothen it into adjacent spots. You know, painting is a brush stroke next to brush stroke and then blending them together. So I probably was doing a lot of this stuff here. All right, so I'm down to, you know, I'm doing this audio as I'm watching it on my computer and editing for you guys. So if it sounds like I'm talking about clips and stuff, that's what I'm doing. I want to tell you though, but at this point I really wanted to do something with that grass. Bring it up. I don't want to paint on it, and burden it with detailed brush strokes. I want some expressionistic brush strokes that allow you to, you know, lay in the grass. So the palette knife allows this aggressive paint and texture to happen. And that's basically what I'm doing here. I also want to tell you guys, you know, one of my favorite, this idea of this image was taken from one of my favorite paintings by Andrew Wyatt. What was the name of that painting? Hang on a second, I'm going to go look this up. Hang on. All right, I'm back, and this image I designed all up here in Oakland, but basically the idea of the image came from a painting by Andrew Wyatt, Christina's World, where in the foreground, bottom left, he actually put his neighbor who was paralyzed, and she was on the ground walking towards the ranch house. You guys probably know that painting. I'll see if I can put a picture of it in here. But it's one of my favorite paintings. I have no idea. I don't really follow Andrew Wyatt's work, but the image is something that's been striking to me since I was a young man. And I was able a few years back to get a print of that image for my house that I found in a yard sale. It was just a poster print, but a full size of the actual painting on paper, and it was starting to lose color already. It was badly framed. Anyways, that's where this image came from, and I'm just playing it up right now. But recently I've been spending time on MDF boards, playing around with brush strokes and trying to find new techniques in painting to enjoy. You see where my knife is right there? That's a cut mark. This is a throwaway board. Probably gonna toss this painting when it's done, but that's one of the cut marks I mistakenly put in there when I was cutting up the boards, the MDFs. But so I decided still I'll gesso it and then test some brush strokes. Hope you guys enjoyed me testing these brush strokes. I'll try and do some more for you guys. I'm working on a couple other pieces. Some are going to be real finished paintings for the gallery, and some will be like this, playing around with brush strokes. I recommend that every artist do that. As you go about your career as a painter, even if you do it as a hobby, always get some inexpensive boards and stuff that you can just go out and test image making, brushstroke making, character, play around with textures, all that kind of stuff. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I'm hoping I'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, feel free to comment, and I guess that's it. Alright, hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one. You guys take care. Bye.